Iron will must be forged. Hammer never fails.
With the Chinese regionals happening over the next coming weeks and the past 2 weeks, I have found myself in a situation of loving some previous decks that I had no interest in, being one of these, Orrn. Orrn is a deck that the Magic players out there would consider Voltron, a deck where you play one monster who indeed gets very, very big, and you have to kind of keep it alive with all of the protections you have available to you as the game goes along. Now, as we are only going into set 2, those protections are kind of limited to what you can and can't do. Over the course of this video, we will discuss things that we can obviously do. In this case though, Orrn is your main carry for this deck, as you can play them as the champion for this deck, as well as having extras in the deck. So let's go over the list that I've seen. Now, by no means is this mathematically the best Orrn deck, but it's definitely a good start to look at, especially when you are playing Please Don't Kill the Orrn. So we're going to start off here with 3 Seals of Focus. Not currently the most expensive seal out there, but I will say overall it's still a very good option. Although a lot of them do use green power, some of them do also use the mind power, and over the course of this you'll generally find that you do want to have the extra calm power going down the line, as you can interchange it with some of your main signature spells, including the Fireforge Cape, Rabadon's Death Crown, and Shurelya's Requiem, which are all very powerful equipments, which has limited them to 1 of each per deck. Although I do think this is the best way to keep the deck safe and honest, it could have possibly been done as you can only have a maximum of 3 of up to 1 of these things. So 3 Requiems, 3 Death Crowns, and 3 Capes, but then you are stuck not being able to use the others. Currently a lot of people are only using the Requiems, but I do find there's a place for both the Cape and the Death Crown. These can either be main decked for who knows what terrible reason, but you can also side deck these in case you are going against the wider boards, where a Death Crown and a Cape will keep your board clear for longer. Now, with all this action and reaction going on within the game, 3 Defies are definitely a way to be, and then followed by 3 Not So Fast. Again, you're playing Keep This Orrn Alive, although you shall play 3 of these Orrns in this deck. Trying to keep the one going is kind of your main plan. Now, after these 2 spells, we have a look at a Charm, because there's nothing more infuriating for opponents when they're trying to build their side up when you crash them into a giant 20 might Orrn, and that'll happen quite often with this deck. Next, we'll have 2 Bellows Breaths to help remove those small units those prison decks like to imprison upon themselves to try and hoard the wealth of the battlefield. Now, overall, giving damage to something is quite new to Riftbound, but with the effect of the Forged Fire Cape and the effect of the Death Crown, it's always going to be doing some heinous bellowy breaths to your opponent's units, including those that you wouldn't expect overall, especially when the Death Crown will give that Bellows Breath an extra 3 punch of damage to those unit cards. Thwonk is a very interesting and new spell within the game. You get hit in the head with a giant pot and you are now stunned. It does cost 2 and you can repeat it, but that's about it for this card. But double stunning a board is actually very good for someone like Orrn, who is only really going to be the 1 unit on the field. Wages of Pain also a very good card for this deck, as it actually produces a gold token after you've used it, making Orrn's power 1 more Miteful. And that's about it for the main deck options we're having here. Next we shall look at the equipments, as that is the main part of Orrn's shtick. But for every equipment or gear we have, Orrn does receive an extra might. So not only do you get might for equipping these things, you also have extra might for having them on the field, which is why the seals are also very important earlier on. Doran Shield and the Cloth Armor coming in as a 1 of each, although I can see some people wanting to play these as multiple, as a 1 cost equipment, is very good just for the extra might this gives the Orrns. 2 Guardian Angels, again for the gear, you are trying to keep that Orrn alive. So the best thing you can do with a Guardian Angel is stack it to your Orrn and watch your opponent drive around in fury as it keeps summoning itself back to the base. 3 of the Svelsonger, because nothing says fun like your opponent watching your Orrn go from 15 might to 30 might to 45 might to 60 might by just equipping these 3 cards. And finally, we have the other units for this deck, which is just a Clockwork Keeper and a Plundering Porro followed by a Stellarcorn Herder. 10 to 12 units seems to be the standard for a lot of these decks going into set 2, which to me feels a little bit too shortcoming, as we have seen many people on stage fizzle out when they can't find their next unit. Overall though, you could also swap out the Plundering Porro or the Clockwork Keeper for something like the Apprentice Smith, who will find or attempt to find you an equipment at the top of your deck. Overall though, these are some pretty stellar cards for this deck overall, and I do think Orrn will see more play in your local scene than maybe competitively. In the side deck we do have the extra Bellows and the extra Guardian Angel, as 3 of these cards won't hurt anyone. We also have 3 of the Card Sharp, just in case you're playing against an opponent who is also greedy and will allow you to have 2 gear tokens with those golds dropping down, making your Orrn twice as strong in one interaction. As well as 3 Adaptatrons, as it is a very heavy gear based format, especially with everyone trying out the new gears themselves in each of their decks. Equipments are pretty strong, but so is gear. The Adaptatron is also a mate trigger, so you don't have to worry about losing out as you go further in. Overall though, generally a very fun deck and something I'm very interested in playing with. Hopefully not too long until we actually get our hands on these cards, and as I'm recording this, it's less than 2 weeks. Have fun summoners, and I'll see you guys soon for more fun times in the near future.
Back to the forge. Even my beard is angry! I will hit you until minerals fall out! I was working! Nose, meet grindstone. Fighting is my first language.